Hello, welcome to the CRL Show. I'm Paul Arandale.
I'm Geoff Stevenson.
Another big weekend of footy done and dusted, and it was good to see a lot of the comps just play. There's some wet weather around, but they're like, you know what? We're just going to get out there and play.
Yeah, and like I've said before, I don't think the players mind. They come off the field absolutely, we'll see later, pretty soggy, but they often have smiles on their faces. They're like, we don't get to do this much. This is fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's it. A lot of guys probably have never played in bombing conditions because council always call it off. So,
yeah. We'll see how those councils feel in about a week's time. But hopefully they show a bit of understanding and say, look, we're going to get some footy in.
Yeah. Just go through a bit of, what do they call it, house cleaning first or whatever. Obviously, CRL Show, it's on BarTV website, but you can watch this in other places. You can watch it on the BarTV YouTube channel, or you can listen to this on the podcast. The CRL podcast is now on Spotify, Apple as well, and across the social media. So there's plenty of places where you can access this. Give us a like, follow, whatever you have to do. It all helps to keep the CRL Show going.
Spotify's great. Like, I'm a car listener, so for those folk that just can't sort of sit down for more than 20 minutes, like some of us, you can just jam it on the way home from work. Yeah.
All right, mate. A few things caught my eye on the weekend. We talked about the wet weather. Have a look at this. This is where are we going to first? It's up at Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
Which is not so sunny at the moment, but plenty of puddles around, and I guess the calves and hammies would be sore after playing this.
Just changing direction. You see there, they have to run it round. You can't just stop at one spot.
A few hours down the road at Kyogle. I don't know how the referee knew what numbers or what were on the jerseys, but in the middle of the field there at New Park at Kyogle, it was just a bog. Yeah. Very similar to I think it was at Thuril, Gibson Park a few years ago when Thuril played Collies.
I remember that.
It was like that.
And hopefully they might have a couple of weeks off. There's a place like Kyogle, I'm sure they'll play some junior stuff there and stuff, but it's not like it's one of those grounds that might get used a lot through the week. So give them a couple of weeks. The ground will recover. It'll probably rain again. And it'll be all starting all over again. Hopefully the rain's gone.
And finally, just something else that caught our eye. If you're an official out there, whether you're on the field as a referee or just an official with your club, just be aware the cameras are rolling. You're up at Ipswich, Rosewood v Redbank, and all of a sudden, if you want to do something illegal, now's the time to do it because we've got the official in front of us with the clipboard.
New way of watching the game is like point of view. It's like you're in the crowd, you're watching it. There's a guy in front of you. Polite cameraman, your sort of head coach or whatever. Excuse me, mate, can you? Just like, oh shit, sorry. We love that type of stuff. Yeah. That's local footy at its best. Next time, I think all the camera operators need to have a mic ready, and you just don't just tap him on the shoulder, just hand a mic to him and say, mate, you're sideline eye now. Like you can turn around and say, what do you reckon? How's the game going so far?
Yeah, so there are our moments. I don't know, they're just things that I find amusing at footy.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah. All right, we'll get into the results from the weekend. We would have got knock-on effect cup. It was round 13, midway through the season of the New South Wales Cup now. And the Dragons 28-24 over the Knights. Warriors 24-6 over Souths. West 32-22 over Newtown. Norths 24-20 over Manly. Penrith 42-28 over Parramatta. And the Sydney Roosters 48-24 over Canberra. A lot of points scored in the knock-on effect cup this weekend. Yeah,
and similar-ish in the Jersey Flegg, round 13. The Penrith game, the Parramatta defeated Penrith 36-26, and the Silktails, the Saturday morning game, it was fantastic. I kind of caught up with it a bit, but they went down to Canterbury 18-14. Souths went down to the Warriors 30-26. The Tigers defeated Cronulla 30-18. The Dragons defeated Newcastle 36-26. Melbourne 52-12 against Manly, and high scoring, like we said, 30-28. Canberra defeated Sydney.
Yep, Ron Massey Cup round 10. St Mary's at home won 34-12 over Glebe. Mt.Isa had a big win away, 40-6 over Penrith Brothers. Wentworthville likewise, 58-0 over Blacktown Workers, and Hills Bulls 24-6 over Rod Eastwood.
Yeah, Denton Engineering Cup in Newcastle round 7. The Battle of the Coalfields was a cracker.
Yeah.
Curry defeated Cessnock 18 points to 10. Lakes were really dominant against South 46 points to 12. The top of the table, West Rosellas defeated Central 24-18. Maitland and Wyong 18-all draw, and the Entrance defeated Northern 24 points to 4.
Yep, and CRL, round 7 up there. Billamble and Maris Brothers played out a thriller. 26-24, the Jets over the Maris Brothers. 8-all, Murwillumbah and Ballina. Coogin 18, Tweed Heads 12. That was a real arm wrestle there. And we just saw the Bog at New Park Casino 16-14 winning over Kyogle. Byron Bay 24-14 over Tweed Coast. Evans Head and Mullumbimby 18-all as well. And Lower Clarence, they had a win 28-16 at the Northern United. What I love, Lower Clarence have taken a few home games back to Maclean.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Yamba Sporting Complex is getting upgrades or what, but the view at the top of the grandstand, the hill, whatever at Maclean, it's magic.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out on the mini game. They're doing quite well too this year, Lower Clarence, compared to previous years, so good for them. Round 6, Illawarra, Dapto were comfortable against Corrimal, 38 points to 10. West is a cracker of a game, 14 points to 10 against Collies. Collies really had a shot, but unfortunately went down. And Thurul went down to De La Salle, 22 points to 18.
Canberra, round 8, some real close ones. This one, Woden Valley, 14-10 over Queanbeyan Blues. Yass got their first win of the year, 28-18 over Belconnen United. Tuggeranong also got their first win of the year, 32-4 over Golden City. And Queanbeyan Roos, 16-0 over West Belconnen. Yeah. They were undefeated.
Yeah, they're off the bingo list. We'll talk later. Now, Group 7, Magic Round. Cracking day down there. We'll see some footage later on, but the weather came good. It was fantastic. Milton Ulladulla undefeated with their comfortable win against Berry, 40 points to 12. Albion Park defeated Jamberoo 42 points to 12. Shell Harbour defeated Nowra 32 points to 16. And the Stingrays 10-6 against Gerringong.
Group 9, round 5 or 6 it was down there, sorry, apologies. But Temora 24-22 over Young. But Young had 2.5 starts. So
wow, well, they can't complain about who's picking those starts, because that's bang on.
50-0 Wagga Kangaroos over Tumut. Wagga Brothers went down to Gundagai Tigers 56-10. Albury 40-36 over Junee. And Cootamundra 24-4 over South City. I think that's 2 in a row for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, good for them. They're back, and they're, like we said before, they're doing it in a way where they want to have the young guys coming through and stuff like that, and they're getting results.
Yeah. We'll have all the results from the Queensland comps that BarTV cover. We'll have that in the Q Corner segment coming up for you shortly.
Yeah.
But now it's time for Around the Groups.
Right. Well, there's been lots going on when it comes to weather, so I thought I'd give it a week and we'd talk about some of the clubs. I don't think I'm going to be able to cover all the clubs that put a bit of effort in helping their communities get back on track. I'll highlight a handful, but I'm sorry those other clubs out there, send a message in and let us know what you've been doing, because really I've loved, from what I've seen, how the clubs have been the hub for a lot of these areas in recovering and responding to some of the flooding. Shout outs go at Gloucester Magpies. I love messages that just appear. There was a message on Facebook a couple of weeks ago that just said, if anyone needs anyone, the Gloucester Magpies boys are ready to help, which was really simple. But I thought, these guys have their own problems. They've got their own lives and stuff like that. And they've just said, no, look, we're going to volunteer to help clean up, tidy up, do whatever needs to be done.
Nice work.
Old Bar has been a real hub. If you look on their Facebook page, they're thanking local businesses, but they've been the ones kind of saying the local chemist donated toiletries, and they were letting people know if you're just out of stuff like that and you can't get to a shop, it's down this way. There was an excavator kind of company that they were kind of promoting and saying this guy will do some excavation and help for free. He's offered it. Okay. So, like I said, a real hub, because I know councils can do what they can do, but really it's the sporting clubs that people got to follow and know about and get the message out there. The Wingham Tigers, everyone had their own problems in Wingham. So it was unbelievable that they were willing to volunteer. They were cooking batches. It looked like every, I think it was a Wingham Junior club, so I need to acknowledge that. Everyone brought their slow cookers and all that kind of stuff. And if you were just either kind of homeless at the time, you know, like people out there still probably homeless from it, or struggling to get electricity and stuff, they had spaghetti, they had curry, they looked fantastic. I thought they should just do it anyway as the year goes on. And if you just want to, you know, raise some money for the club, rock down and get yourself some spag bowl on a Wednesday night and stuff like that. So
well done.
Lots of other clubs. Like I said, I don't often. I'm not able to get around to every sort of nook and cranny of what's happening in the country, unfortunately, but every club out there, I'd say, would be doing something to help out their local community. So good on those clubs and those people that are doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah.
Last week was NRL's Junior Appreciation Round, and I haven't heard enough about it. I think it's sort of like it's a round, but I think it's up to the clubs to do what they do with it. I'll acknowledge South Sydney, who there'll be some sort of, for those who are watching, you'll be able to see there, they had every player be sent, I guess, a shirt or jersey from their junior club so they could whack it on at training, but also they created some great content around that. There were some great ones where they found photos. There's ones of the Cheese, what's his name, Brendan Smith, and Kulamatangi and stuff, and a whole bunch of other players where they've got them now and they've got captured a photo of them from their junior club wearing their jersey and stuff. And lots of they had drawing comps. They put it all online, which I think is really great. So kids could draw their favourite player and that kind of stuff, and they had junior kids interviewing players. So check out the South. So I very rarely bother about NRL stuff, especially the content, but have a look online because it's quite good. And I think I'd love every club to maybe do something similar because, you know, like just even them wearing their jerseys and having a you know, something online or a photo, or having them train in the jerseys of their junior clubs must feel amazing when you're those little kids at that club going, oh,
yeah, absolutely,
that's my jersey, and he's, you know, Kulamatangi's wearing it, who was a mascot Jets junior. So Mandarin season launch is coming up now. Mandarin, for those whom I might have mentioned a few months ago, they haven't had a team together. Mandarin is just sort of out of Dunedoo, tiny little place. I went there years ago for a picnic race meeting that I remember most of until about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. But apparently it went well for the rest of the day as well. Yeah. But a great little community. They had the idea of getting the team back together after 38 years out of rugby league. And they worked out that they probably don't have enough players, but if they worked with the Dunedoo Swans, they would cobble together a reserve grade team. Right. So they're having a season launch, which sounds epic. There's lots of launches every year, and the Castlereagh League reserve comp's kicking off soon. Have I got the right league? I'm saying Castlereagh.
Yes, I'm thinking, I believe so, yeah. I hope so. If not, we'll just cut this
not
out.
Woodbridge Cup, no. But they have got some stuff on. It starts on the Saturday, and it goes for till well into Sunday, the launch.
Sounds like the race day you went to.
I know, yeah. I think, well, the race day, Mandarin, they had this, the RSL club over there, and they had the car park out the back that they turned into a rodeo, which was really cool. I think that happened. I don't know whether I just woke up the next morning and said rodeo. I can't remember something vaguely about a rodeo. But they're going to have player jersey auctions. They're raffling, I don't know if it's your choice, but they're raffling a St George Dragons jersey. Maybe because Brian Johnson was from Dunedoo. Dunedoo's very St George oriented because of him. He's an iconic local. But you can also win a dressed lamb. Do you know what a dressed lamb is? I didn't either until I drew it. I've
heard of mutton dressed up as lamb.
I had to Google that, and it kept pointing me that direction. A dressed lamb is like a whole lamb. The only downside is that it's missing the carcass, the hide, the head, and the internal organs.
All right, so it's a dead lamb.
It's a dead lamb, okay. But it's 22 to 28 kilos of lamb.
Right.
Which I just always love the idea of that you win this, and then you go chuck it in the boot. Like you get home to the wife or the husband or the family, and you go, "Oh, look what I won!" And they're like, "Oh, what have you won? Like, what is going on there? You've got a whole lamb in the back."
We're going to need a bigger fridge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Strange things can happen after a big day in Mandarin, but that could be another one. But they got lots of things going on up until like they're having breakfast bowls on the Sunday at Mandarin Club. It's all being hosted at Robertson Oval. They're actually going to have a game of footy as well. Right. A trial game on the about midday, I think, on the Saturday. So they get the game out of the way and then the festivities begin. But great little club that has emerged out of one of those things where they've had a meeting, they've had a bit of a, couple of beers, old boys. The old boys are going to be there, but they haven't played for 38 years. So I'm like, good on them finding those old boys and getting them there. But if you're out that way, it's sort of near Dunedoo, not too far from Dubbo. If you just want a weekend away, it's going to be a great event out there in Mandarin, the mighty Mandarin Tigers. What else? What else have I got? Actually, I don't do a shout out. I very rarely do a shout out to another content provider or whatever, but the Wellington Cowboys Graveyard TV, that each club does their own little TV station. It is epic, and I would encourage, after you watch all of the CRL show and BarTV stuff you want to watch, don't go there now, to find the Wellington Cowboys Facebook page and log on. What I love is they're getting a mixture of, there's one host who's one of the female players. I couldn't get her name, but I would have loved to have given her a shout out. But there's a bunch of other players who are just involved in interviewing each other, talking to little juniors and that kind of stuff. I just think it's good because these are people that play rugby league and they might not see themselves as being able to do this kind of stuff. They might not be the kind of people that can present or, you look at what we do, it's hard work, as you could see. It's not that easy to stand there and talk crap on camera for hours upon end. But
just to get the makeup on.
I know, and to get myself right in the head, like psych myself up. Anyway, good on Wellington. Lots of other clubs do it. They're worth having a look at.
Yeah, but, absolutely.
Graveyard TV is one to have a look at yourself.
Awesome.
And lastly, I guess we'll look at the Magic Round. It was an absolute cracker.
Yeah, massive success down there. We're trying to get a crowd figure down there, but from our viewpoint, from the BarTV cameras, there was a good crowd scattered around the oval, and obviously spectators coming and going, watching their team, and the next lot were pulling. There was jumping castles, there was beer tents, there was food vans, there was everything there.
There seemed to be people that did set up for the day, because I kind of was coming and going, watching various games, and you could see marquees where people had obviously, and I thought that's great too. The people just said, you know what, feast of football. It's not just watching my team, they might play later. And that's what a Magic Round's all about.
Yeah, no, well done to everyone involved. Nigel, our cameraman, Jack and Corey, who did the commentary, Jason, the co-calling as well, Ashton for putting it on, and also all the player managers, the player officials, players, for just getting involved, and they seem to have loved it. But Jack and Corey caught up with the men of the matches of each game and had a little chat with these guys.
On the captain, Blake Mackey. And now an inside ball from Walsh. He receives it back, then gets it back to Millard. And Millard, he crosses over again. The man of the match, Jaden Millard. Congratulations. Put on the headset. Let's head over here. Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The $100 voucher thanks to Warilla Bowls. Jaden, first of all, Magic Round. How special was it to be involved in the very first match?
Oh, it was very special. Grateful that Groups haven't put this event on today. It's a good turnout as well. It's only going to get better as the day goes on, and I hope everyone has a good day.
Let's talk about your performance. Something like, what are we talking, a hat-trick of tries, was it?
Yeah, I think I got four.
Four it was.
Four, yeah.
You got that one early on. 4 tries, exceptional. Just talk about your performance and also linking up with Jake Walsh. I mean, you two working together, it was like clockwork.
Yeah, it's been good with having Jake here this year. He's helped my game out a lot. And, hopefully we can put together a few more wins. And our middles did everything today, so credit to them.
In terms of the context of your season, how big is this in terms of being able to keep in touch with the top 5, but also build some momentum after a very stop-start few weeks of the competition?
Yeah, that was good. That's probably our best win of the year so far, and it's just good. Hopefully we can keep building from that. So, yeah.
And your thoughts on Magic Round as a whole? Do you think this is a concept that should be here to stay?
Yeah, I love it. I've seen the Newcastle comp did it as well this year, and it's so good that Groups haven't put it on as well. Credit to Ashton.
Yeah, well, 4 tries here. Jaden Millard making history, the first ever to score 4 tries in a Magic Round match. I mean, we've only had one match, but I think it will be very tough to beat this afternoon. Congratulations, and enjoy the trip home down the Princes Highway.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
It's looking ominous for Jamboree at the moment. Breakspear at the back. Wasn't a great pass. They'll float it back here to Murray. And now Zahn Weatherall. He puts his foot on the ball. It is. Oh, it's fallen for Weatherall. What's happened there? Just wanted to get your thoughts on the game. It's been a very stop-start season for probably all the clubs.
Yeah.
I spoke to Josh throughout the week, and guys hadn't been able to train an awful lot, but you had everyone filled out there. It looked like a really cohesive performance from the side.
Yeah, well, we just brought out a good training session the day before, and we were working on starting fresh early. We always started real slow.
Yeah.
We worked on that at training and then showed on the field.
What was the most pleasing aspect of that? Is it what you do defensively? Is the fact you score 42 points? What do you think Josh is going to say in the sheds about that performance today?
I think it's our defence.
Yep.
Letting not many tries in. We work really hard on that at training.
Yep.
And tries will come.
Yeah. And I guess kind of moving forward for you guys, this could be like a chance for it to, I guess, be a bit of a launching pad for you. I know you kind of got next weekend off because of the long weekend and that kind of stuff, but if you can kind of replicate what you've done today, you guys could go a long way in this competition, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Zahn, congratulations. Not every day a back row scores a couple of tries, but congratulations on the man of the match, and thanks for chatting to us.
Thank you.
Wallace sweeps to the left, throws the dummy. Braxton Wallace. He's millimetres away. And an easy try from Matrosky. Braxton Wallace, the man of the match on behalf of Warilla Bowls, the winner of the $100 voucher. Braxton, talk us through the match. Certainly, the scoreline probably didn't reflect how tough a match it was.
Yeah, 100%. Now is always tough. They love just that, real gritty type of footy, almost like knockout footy. So it's always tough. I knew in our team, if we stick to our game plan, we could definitely get the win, but yeah, it's always a tough match against them.
Obviously, a really good performance by yourself. Really controlled the game nicely, along with your halves partner Jackson Manakonga. Just your thoughts on how you're able to control the game and ultimately get your side over the line.
Yeah, well, we work really hard through the pre-season, obviously with players leaving and stuff. So it was time for me to step up. And Jackson's just a footballer, He loves the tough stuff and he's ready to run. So each week we're just kind of working on those type of things. I guess it comes down to the pre-season and the training,
And Bailey there at 9 as well. A very good performance from him as well.
Yeah, 100%. He's just getting better each week. He's really been good for us, tough in the middle. And we're very lucky to have 2 skillful hookers, so they kind of complement each other. But really proud of Bales, actually. Okay,
I want to get your thoughts. This is obviously the first Group 7 Magic Round. What's it been like to be a part of this day?
Yeah, it's been awesome, hey. All the build-up, it's been really exciting. And we talked about it all week. Massive crowd. It's just really good for the country footy. It's a great field. It's great everything. And, the crowd speaks for itself. Everyone's here. That's just typical country footy, beers, footy, and food, so yeah.
And importantly for the Sharks, 2 competition points. So, Braxton, congratulations. A great performance by yourself and by the team, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Yeah, still 58 minutes left in this fixture. McLaurin runs the line, gives it to Laffey. Laffey looking to push away from defenders. Slides in, big Timmy Laffey. Congratulations on a wonderful individual performance for you, but I guess what's your initial reactions in what looked like from a neutral standpoint, a pretty bruising encounter against Gerringong?
Yeah, no, thanks, mate. No, I don't think it comes down to such a individual. It definitely wasn't just an individual performance that got the job done. I think it was a great team performance.
Yep.
We spoke about at the start of the week about a change of attitude.
Yep.
Turning up with energy and doing everything with purpose. So.
Yep. I think when you look at some of the performances this year, you guys have put on some really big scores, but this was a little bit different today. Gerringong made you work for the points you did score, and then defensively, I thought, the fact that the 1 try they scored came from a kick must be, a real kind of, show of the grit and determination that you boys showed, especially on your own goal line, Kieran.
That's our brand of footy. That's what we've trained for since pre-season. we're not so hyped up about having to score points. I'm happy about it just to grind points out. And to keep teams like Gerringong down to nearly to keep them at 0 points is really pleasing. To I can't count how many times they had repeat sets on our line and fourth tackle penalties put on our line, and we just kept turning up for each other. And then for them to get a lucky try out of a crossfield kick, that's pleasing on my end as a coach, but most importantly as a team.
And where the side's sitting at the moment, you stay top of the table, five wins and a couple of losses. I know you've got a fair few boys out. You were saying that you weren't even going to play today, and you kind of had to strap yourself up and throw yourself in there. Are you kind of happy with where the side is, albeit a few injuries with some of the boys? Yeah, we do. We do have quite a few bodies out at the moment, but I'm expecting probably 3 or 4 back next week, or the following week actually against Kiama. My wife's in the background rolling her eyes at me. I only woke up yesterday morning and made the decision I might strap myself up and try to get a run in. So I got a bit of a tear in my bicep, but I was able to sort of grind through it today. So. Yeah. Well, make sure if you have something to drink, maybe use the other arm, Kieran, and rest up. Congratulations on the player of the match performance, and well done today. And most importantly, thanks to Ashton Sims and Group 7 for putting on such a great event today. Yeah, that was a pretty good around the groups, Geoff. Yeah, I love the catching up with the captains. I love how there was just various G-ups there thrown in. And, of course, you got that opportunity and you've got someone talking to camera, you're going to do something like that. All right. Yeah, fantastic. All right, let's big hits of the week. There was a lot of big hits. I don't know if it was the boggy conditions or the sunshine. Maybe it was May, June, heading into winter. I don't know, but there were some big hits. Some prop forwards that had a few weeks off because of the rain. And they're just like, I've got to unleash. Here are our big hits of the week. First up, Jai Ellis, Albion Park Eagles. They go short here. Drew Clark hit hard. Good jamming in defence there. From Albion Park. Here's Rose Warren trying to isolate though. Kick-off, Nicola Sovatabua, Cootamundra Bulldogs. As we get underway here in this round 7, Group 9 match of the round, taken well by Smith, and I think it's gone all the way out. Or has it? My goodness, that was a huge hit. What do we got here? Charlie Runciman, Collies.
Whoa, there's a good shot from Runciman. Palmer Quigg's been wrapped.
Sione Lolahia, South Sydney Jersey Flag.
Tui Palotu, he's met with a strong tackle there. Bit of verbal in there too.
And finally, Mitchell McD and New Plains. Some absolute crackers this week. Geoff, if you had to pick your favourite, which one?
Mitchell McD, like seriously. I mean, that was sort of more standard fare. The Cootamundra, what was his name? Nicola Sovatabua. Yeah, that was sort of a bit more quirky. But Mitchell McD just lined him up and thought, I'm going to flatten this guy, and did a great job of it. Yeah, some great hits this week. So we thank all those guys for being involved. And if you want to get some juniors, you want to teach them how to, you need to play to the whistle. I think that Cootamundra.
South Sydney boy, the fullback,
Yeah, it was a very good example of you need to play to the whistle. You don't sit there looking around saying, no, was that a knock on, because you got lined up. And it was some of those ones I was saying, I think over the years we get a bit, whatever about these things, because you don't want head knocks and stuff like that. But legal tackles are legal tackles. Like if it was not around the head or neck. I think Nicola did get penalised from that, but it was just so good we had to throw it in. It was, but I got to think, penalised for what? I guess it might have been a contact to the head in the basically being launched into the air by a big guy twice your size, but I don't know, it's one of those funny ones.
All right, we'll have a look at Q Corner now. And we'll go through the results and the fixtures for Queensland Rugby League. Here they are. First up, we'll go Brisbane Rugby League, round 10. Redcliffe 34-12 over Logan Pride. Carina 34-12 over South Logan Magpies. And Wynnum 30-4 over Wests.
Now, Ipswich round 6, something I love doing, that night footy, watching some night footy. Fassifern are hosting West End Saturday night at 6 o'clock. Redback Plains are hosting Northern Tigers Saturday at 6, and Brothers versus the Jets Sunday at 3.
All right, I'll keep reading out the results. You keep reading out the fixtures.
Oh, I'm reading results.
No, I'm reading results. You're reading fixtures.
Oh, sorry, I'm reading fixtures. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Just if you're driving, you're wondering what's going on there. It hasn't jumped. All good. Gold Coast round 7. Currumbin 32-26 over Tugun. Runaway Bay 36-34 over Helensvale. And Burleigh 110-0 over Southport. 20 tries.
Southport. I didn't think they were at that state of play at the moment, but anyway. Anyone know what the results are in Ipswich, not just the fixtures?
Yeah, Ipswich, you want me to read them out too? Round 5 up there. Ipswich Brothers 30-10 over Fassy Fern. North Tigers 18-16 over West End, and Ipswich Jets 30-20 over Redbeck Plains. There you go. I'll let you do Sunny Coast.
Yeah, Sunny. I don't know who's playing in Ipswich next week, but we'll find out later. Sunshine Coast round 8. Biwa defeated Nambour 32 points to 10. Coolum defeated Noosa 24-16. Caloundra defeated Caboolture 34 points to 6, and Kawana went down to Maroochydore 30 points to 24.
Yeah, just to touch on Southport. I guess every club goes through highs and lows, and I believe Clive Palmer has nothing to do with the club. He was sort of helping them out financially in some ways.
He's not playing at the moment. Is he looking at those results?
Yeah, he could well be playing, but it's just a shame to say every club goes through it, and I'm sure they'll bounce back. But
and I mean, all jokes aside, the alternate is what we're hearing, where clubs pull out of comps. Yeah, and that's a tough decision, and people might get upset by the high scores, but they're like, well, the alternate is we can't put together a team that's not going to concede that amount of tries. Do you want us to just pull out? Which I think most people would say, no, actually, as much as it's, these scores come up, good on those players that are running out there every week. I'm sure there are players that run out this week thinking we're probably not going to win, and they're going to put their body on the line on weeks where they're not going to win. But there's always hope, and if they win this year, or when they win this year, it'll have a lot of meaning. Like, it'll have a nice feeling for them.
Apologies too if you can hear some yelling in the background. We're not in a soundproof room. Hugh, one of our cameramen, is how do you say, unusually loud.
Jesus.
If you worked out what his conversation was,
That's right. You hear all sorts here. It should be like a competition. What's that noise?
Well, that's it,
We
secret
hear
sound.
Trains, we hear a whole bunch of things here. But I hardly heard anything. But it's probably because I'm so loud talking and crapping on about myself anyway.
All right, we've got through the results. You've got a bit of sort of news yourself.
Yeah, it's a bit of sort of not sad news, but it's one of those, just what we were talking about, that Mt.Isa this season, they're struggling to get 3 teams together for a competition. So they were having, I think they were up to 4 teams a couple of years ago, and unfortunately Brothers Mt.Isa have just said, look, we can't put together a team. So they're now running a 2-team comp, which is a challenge. Like, again, what do? Do you just say we're not playing a Mt.Isa comp this year? Full credit to the Wanderers and the Townies, who are still playing. They're playing each other every week.
I wondered if Queensland Rugby League or neighbouring competitions that have a bye have ever thought of, we've got a bye. Let's just travel. I know travel it can be long, but it helps the comps out. It keeps those players involved. Yeah, and it's only a one-off thing. Whereas we're going to buy. We'll send a team out to Mt.Isa and play one of those teams, and just to keep them playing different people. Because
that's right.
It must get a bit hard when you play the same team every week.
Yeah, and I think they've got an under 14s and under 16s comp. They don't have an under 18. I thought, could you just a 15-year-old is way too young to be thrown in there. I can see, though, that's the reason to keep the comp going. Yeah, those under 14s and under 16s are getting a game every week. They might play each other everywhere. They probably. Mt.Isa, they might all know each other anyway, but 2 things. Credit them out, those guys that are still playing, and, it's a shame. It'd be great to see maybe next season. This might be enough. Sometimes a club like Brothers, who have a year off, that steals them to sort of play next year and get things organised. But it's ebbed and flowed over the years, what can you do when you don't have the players, Blaney Bears pulled out recently, the Woodbridge Cup, and it's like, you can't make players appear out of nowhere.
No, and that's the thing. You got teams that pop up, new teams. So it's just the nature of the
Anyway, I don't know what to do about it or say about it, but I'd love if Mt.Isa can get back to some good health when it comes to the teams and stuff like that. Now, our friend, we can't say friend of the show, I really like to because I want to be his friend. I hope he watches this. Rob Brough, who was a former host, for those who are old enough, of Family Feud, for a now current newsreader for Sunshine Coast Prime or Channel 7 or whatever that. Yeah. And also a former coach, like he's coached and has been heavily involved in Kawana. He did a movie, a little short movie around...
Would you call it the halcyon days of Kawana Dolphins?
Yes, yes. I think he would call it the halcyon days of Kawana Dolphins, but he'd use that halcyon days of Kawana. Anyway...
that's pretty good.
Thank you. I've been working on it. Been working on it for 20 years. Anyway, he's heavily involved with the Kawana Club, and he did a good... it was really good quality kind of short movie about their anniversary. I can't remember what anniversary it was a few years ago, 50th, 30th, something like that. He's made a new movie, short movie again, called Connect, the Greatest Game of All. Now, I'll say that clearly because that's what you'll Google to find it on YouTube. And it is a really good short documentary around all access rugby league. Is that the right term?
I suppose so.
Yeah,
You're telling me this.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what it's called. A bunch of different things all over the world, really. Yeah. But it's about getting these guys that, right at the start, he talks to a bunch of guys that was sort of that have a disability, have Down syndrome, of various things that kind of said, look, I don't think I'd ever play rugby league. This is a joke. Like I never thought there'd be any chance I would be running on the rugby league field. And it sort of showcases the impact on the family, on the clubs, and how a bunch of teams have sort of worked together to get these players on the field and into a competition. So it's well worth watching. Yeah. It's great, thanks. When you watch it, you're grateful to the clubs. Kawana was one, of course. Dolphins NRL are involved in making it happen. The Mt.Isa Pirates and Caboolture were all involved. They had a massive, gala event opening night for the movie at the Strand Cinema at Caloundra a few weeks ago. It was a big deal. There's a massive number there at the night. And it's a niche area, and as much as I may take the mickey out of Rob Brough a little bit or whatever, he's doing it, and there aren't a lot of people out there. There's Graveyard TV and stuff like that, but someone who's actually sitting down and editing and making a nice little 20-minute show about telling a story. Telling rugby league stories in the country and in Queensland, Country Rugby League, absolutely fantastic. So I would implore everyone, once you've watched the show and anything else you want to watch on BarTV, to go on to, it's just on YouTube. Yeah, so he's made it, that's what I like too, he's made it really easy for people just to click on it. Yeah. I think it's sort of one of those ones, you've got kids or someone who are into footy, it's good to whack it on for them as well, put it on and just say, look, have a look at this, because I think sometimes it's good to show kids that, first of all, rugby league brings everyone together. It sounds a bit sappy, but you see some of these players who are playing and they say, rugby league's in my family, it's in my blood. And it's almost like they were almost saying, it's in my blood and my family, and I never thought I could be actually a part of it. I was always sort of an outlier. But it also shows kids that, that sometimes determination on the rugby league field isn't because the result isn't that you score 2 tries or you make X amount of tackles, you get man of the match. Sometimes it's just getting there. Yeah. So anyway, good on you, Bruffy, as his friends call him. Maybe I can be calling him that very soon because he might, decide to accept my friendship request. But good on him because he'd be doing this in his own time for no money and just for his love of rugby league.
Yeah, no, well done.
Yep, so check it out.
All right, fixtures, Q Corner, fire away.
Okay, Ipswich, we'll start with Brisbane. Round 11, we've got South Logan playing Redcliffe at 3 o'clock on Saturday. Wests are hosting Valley Saturday at 3:30 and Wynnum are hosting Logan Pride Sunday at 12:30.
Yeah, times subject to change.
Yeah.
Gold Coast round 8, Tugun host Helensvale, Southport at home to Runaway Bay, and Burleigh host Currumbin. That's the feature match on BarTV.
Beautiful, and we've got a catch-up week in Sunshine Coast because of rain.
Yeah.
Lots of rain. For round 1, this is round 1 kicking off. Kawana and Burleigh host Burleigh Saturday at 5:30. Mt.Isa host Caboolture Saturday 5:30. Nambour host Mt.Isa host Caloundra at 5:30. Nambour host Caboolture Sunday at 3 o'clock, and Stanley host Coolum on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Those 5:30 games on a Saturday are crackerjack.
Yeah.
Often you might be getting your stuff done. You got your stuff done on a Saturday, you rock home, whack on some BarTV, 5:30 game, fantastic.
Yeah, no. Why would you want to watch anything else, really?
Well, yeah, I just think, there's always, I love the various times, that, especially the Queensland comps do, because sometimes you're a bit busy, you've got to, I got to do this, got to do that, and then you can go, there will be a game on.
Yeah. All right, we'll get into tries of the week with Pick 5. Here they are.
Bennett on the takedown. Shooting it to the right. This is Ma. Hall, the back's getting involved here. Dash to the outside. And the Dogs were on the board.
Able to get through there this time. The Tui inside ball, little set piece here. Long ball ends up out at Namumbo. Namumbo puts it on the boot. The grabber goes past Hahn. The Dolphins are there. I think it was Kavalu.
Last tackle, flat ball for Williams. This time he kicks across the face. He'll look. Anderson leaping high, flicks it out the back for Thompson, and they score in that right-hand corner. A little bit of brilliance. This time Sam Williams, instead of kicking left, went right.
His back row partner takes one up. Peter Matadia shifts it wide through Pythian. Now it's on to Sione Matadia. Late jig of the line. Got good footwork, Sione Matadia. He bursts through. He's got Potts either side of him. He dummies. He gives it on to Potts. Potts is still going. Potts, can he go all the way? He needs support. Potts gets it offload away. And they go through to Dylan Pythian. What a try. That is an amazing try.
Are you retarded?
All right, some pretty good tries this week.
Yeah, fantastic.
Anyone you'd like to?
That last one, I thought was just like classic try. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you just love a good classic try.
Yeah.
A little bit of hijinks in there as well, but no, they're all high quality. It amazes me with all the wet and muck. The grounds must be boggy, and we still seem to see some pretty fast and furious kind of rugby league.
Yeah, no, well done. All right, let's get into the fixtures, wrapping things up. This weekend, round 14, not much happening this weekend, June long weekend in New South Wales. So not going to affect Cup, round 14. Newcastle host Manly Thursday night, 5:20. On Saturday, we have Newtown hosting the Warriors at 3. Then on Sunday, we've got Parramatta at home to Sydney. That's at Kellyville. Canberra at GIO Stadium at 4:15. That one's on after the NRL game.
Oh, okay. Well, people should stick around and watch it if they're there, and whack it around to BarTV if you're watching.
Yeah, North Sydney, twilight game at North Sydney Oval, hosting Penrith.
Beautiful.
Then on Monday, Canterbury and West do battle at 20-2. That's round 14, knock-on effect Cup.
Yeah, long weekend, so there's Monday footy. Fantastic, and starting at 1:40, perfect. Jersey Flegg, round 14. We've got Friday night footy, Friday Arvo footy, another one I love. Get home from work, whack it on. Melbourne are hosting Penrith at 3:30. Canterbury are playing Penrith West Tigers at 7 o'clock on Friday night. Saturday, Newcastle host Manly at 1 o'clock. Canberra play Souths at 2. Dragons are hosting Silktails at 2. Cronulla are playing with the Warriors at 3. And then on Sunday at 1 o'clock, Parramatta are hosting Sydney.
All right, and round 8 of the Newcastle Rugby League Denton Cup. Saturday, 3 p.m, we've got a few games. Lakes host Maitland at Carl Oval. Curry at home to Central at Curry Sports Ground. Wong and Macquarie do battle. I hope Macquarie pack their away shirt, otherwise
could be... not again.
Yeah, could be in trouble. Souths take on Cessnock at Townsend Oval. They're all 3 p.m. Saturday. Then the standalone game, the entrance host Western Suburbs, 3 p.m. Sunday.
Yeah, some interesting matchups there. Can the Bulldogs kick on after their great win last week? And even, like I said, the Rosellas are leading the comp. It's been a while, I reckon, since they've been up the top of the ladder. And the entrants are a bit here and there this year, but you never know.
Yeah. No games at NRRL Group 7, Group 9, Illawarra, Canberra or Ron Massey Cup this weekend. I also believe we've got Central Coast Ground of the Round back. I think it's Berkeley Vale hosting Kincumber. So
yeah, nice.
Kincumber's making the news a lot. Not so much here. We just like supporting local footy, but there's a few sort of former NRL stars in both teams, so that should be beauty.
Yeah, that'll be a cracker, and it's good. Some of those comps, it's good that some players will have a well-earned rest after the first couple of months because it's been a busy one.
Yep. All right, that's the CRL show over with for another week. As I said, if you're watching this on the website or YouTube, thank you very much. Hit the subscribe button below on the BarTV. Or likewise, if you're driving in your car listening to this, give us a follow.
Or running. Yeah. You could be running.
Yeah.
You could be knitting.
If you're running and knitting and you can leave a comment, even better. It doesn't matter what you write in the comments either. You could even say that you prefer Rob Brough to host the show. And who could be his co-host?
Oh, I don't know, Daryl Summers?
Perfect. Rob Brough and Daryl Summers will be hosting
Aussie Ostrich?
Aussie Ostrich, yeah.
You can write in the comments if you want to invite me to Mandurah, I'll come.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's the CRL show over for another week. We'll catch you next week.
Cheers.